We're here at the Peace Incorporated administrative offices with Lou Clark, who's my predecessor, and we're beginning the new year, 2018, celebrating Peace's 50th anniversary. Lou was the executive director for many years. I think, was it 13 or 14?
13, yeah.
And Lou led us to the promised land. I inherited the organization
You took us over to promised land.
from Lou, and we're continuing to do good work. But Lou, I was just wondering, from your perspective, what do you think was the biggest challenge when you were the executive director?
As always in most nonprofit, it was funding. I didn't have much diversified funding. I think it was 80 to 85% was federal funding. And so when every time the federal budget was shaky, we were shaky.
Yeah.
I remember that, I think it was 94 when the Republicans took over the House and talked about cutting everything. Some of our people got kind of scared, and our lobbyists took all the executive directors and told them to update their resume because they thought the organization was going to fold. And by and whole, the Republicans, because they liked the block grant application of Peace, they gave us a raise in our CBS funding. So that was a kind of interesting time.
Yeah. It's funny, it hasn't changed all that much because it ebbs and flows in terms of the political climate.
Right.
And most of our funding, if you were at 80% or 85% with federal grants, we're at about 70%. So it hasn't really changed.
Well, that's good. That's good because I didn't have as much diversified funding, so you have more diversified funding, so that's good.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good.
still a challenge though.
Yes.
The unrestricted income is what we target.
Right.
But that's always running uphill.
Yes, it is. It is.
How's your life in retirement?
Oh, excellent. I'm staying busy, and that's the key to being retired. You can't just sit around. You have to have something you're passionate about and want to do. Get up every morning and do it.
Yeah.
I get up at 5:30 every morning. So
You used to play volleyball at the Y.
Yeah, well, as I was mentioning before we started talking, that everybody was old and most of them died, so we didn't have enough people to play. So we played pickleball, which only takes 4 people. Volleyball takes 6 to 12 people to play. So
Yeah.
we play volleyball. I love pickleball.
You still golf pretty regularly?
Oh yeah, I golf three times a week in the season, 3 or 4 times a week. So that's good. I'm very active in my church, and I was the first president of the 100 Black Men organization.
Oh.
I helped start that 10 years ago. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary. So that's growing, and we have a Saturday Academy for kids from 4th grade to 9th grade, and between 38 and 50 kids. We come down every Saturday and we do work with them in different aspects, and then do some mentoring with them. So that takes up a lot of time, which is good.
Yeah.
So good, and I enjoy working with the kids. And also, one of my projects with my church is we go into the Justice Center and talk to the 16 and 17-year-olds who are incarcerated. So I do that once a month. So that's fun too.
How many were in the Head Start program when you began?
Let's see.
There's 1,077 youngsters enrolled now.
Yeah, there's probably about half of that. It's probably about 500 or 600. Because I remember when we went up to 800, which I thought was a great big jump. So it was about 500 or 600,
Yeah.
800. But it's, do you still have early Head Start?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started early. They started early Head Start. So that was a political football of trying to make sure we kept early Head Start because there were some of the nonprofits who were trying to grab the early Head Start. So I was able to keep that here. So,
Yeah.
so that was good.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program.
It is.
Really.
It is.
You know, they were saying with the youngsters, I guess there's more brain growth and activity
Oh,
from
right.
0 to 2.
Yeah.
And with Head Start beginning at 3 years
Right.
old, we were actually working with the youngsters too late.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
early Head Start's been a blessing.
Yeah, it is great. It is great. Yeah.
And the Big Brother, Big Sister program, where, you know, you were just mentioning about the 100 black men, and we have a pretty extensive waiting list there.
Yes, it always has been.
Always been a waiting list, yeah.
Oh, it's
We always
good.
need more mentors.
Right, right.
So things haven't changed all that
That's
much.
right. Especially male mentors.
Yeah, yeah. But one thing that's changed, and you went through it, and I'm going through it, we're all going through it, is just the technology.
Oh, yes,
You know, in terms of emailing, we have so many different locations.
right.
When you were the director, you know, you had so many locations. For us, now, we can just email everybody.
Right.
The good news is the information gets out. The bad news is you don't sometimes interact face to face
That's
as
true.
much.
That's true. My hardest thing in the technology is that we just started getting computerized when I was director, and getting computerized was really a problem for staff because some of the staff were older and they didn't adapt to the computerization, and it got to a point that if you couldn't adapt, we would have to let you go. So we had extensive training to
I would have been in trouble.
I was in trouble, but I had a good secretary.
Well, actually, that's the same thing for me.
That's right. I was really in trouble when I retired, because when I retired, I started a management consulting firm, and then I found out that I had to do all these reports, which
Yeah.
and matter of fact, I had to hire somebody to do reports, and so it was, you know, I could type them up, but get them in the right format to give them, because I had a contract with Pro Literacy for years, almost 10 years, and so to get the reports the way they want them, I had to hire somebody. Was not fun because I wasn't making that much money myself. Taking all my money to my secretary.
Yeah. One of our challenges, we've got a capital improvement fund now because
great.
we own 10 buildings.
Oh, wow, you start buying buildings.
Well, you were renting some buildings from the
Right.
city for $1.
Right,
And we actually decided
to buy.
to buy them for $1,
Right.
and then we were able to leverage money from the federal government.
Good.
And so that's been good.
Yeah.
But the opposite is
Maintenance.
you've got to put money into them every year.
Maintenance.
And
Yeah,
that's a challenge.
Yeah, just like my houses. It's out
Yeah,
there.
that's what it is. But,
Yeah.
and you know, the fleet now, in terms of the number of vehicles, I was checking the other day, we've got about 112 now. We've got about 25 school buses, and then the
Yeah.
rest are vans, and then a few maintenance trucks.
Wow.
And the Energy and Housing has the cargo vans.
Okay, good.
You started that program.
Yeah.
That program's been terrific.
Yeah. I had another program with the weatherization which didn't flourish. It was it was a nonprofit that was separate. Actually, John McGovern started it, and I enhanced it. We were weatherizing apartment buildings, the whole apartment building. But the work got so that you had to spread out through Onondaga County and beyond. And so the board and I was the same way, that we were going out of our territory to get work, so we had to disband the organization. But for a while, they were doing well. They had a lot of contracts. In fact, they had a large grant from National Grid, and were doing weatherization of several apartment buildings all over central New York.
Oh.
Yeah.
When Barack Obama was president, we were the recipient of a lot of stimulus.
I saw
stimulus
that.
money.
Yeah, I saw that because I read your annual report. I saw
Yeah.
that.
That was a good
great.
program. We
Yeah.
were actually doing energy and housing weatherization in like 16, 17 different counties.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's,
And so it was improving the quality of life for
Sure.
people living in those apartments and
Yeah.
homes.
Yeah.
It was promoting energy
yeah,
conservation.
that was a stretch.
Yeah, yeah. That was, yeah.
That's great.
What do you think is our biggest challenge going forward?
It's the same as it always been for the last 40 years is funding.
Yeah.
And diversified funding. Yeah. If you could get different funding besides federal government, it would be good. So, diversify.
We're celebrating, as we mentioned at the beginning, at the 50th
Yeah.
anniversary from 1968 to 2018. Each month, we're going to honor one program, one
Oh,
program
good,
apiece.
good,
So
good.
this month, January, we're celebrating Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Good. Okay.
And then next month, I think it's going to be the foster grandparents and
It's EITC.
EITC, Earned Income Tax Credit.
Right.
Was that program in place when you were here?
It was in its infancy.
Yeah, that's a terrific program.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're just building up. I didn't have the staff well enough. I couldn't get the right people there, but it was there.
Yeah.
I mean,
mean-
small.
We do taxes for over 2,000
Wow.
working,
Yeah.
poor, and I
Yeah.
think last year we returned almost $3 million.
Wow, that's great.
That's money that they can spend right back here in the community.
Sure. Yeah.
So
That
it's
was
a
about-
very good program.
Yeah, that was about 10 times as much as we did. I think we did 100 or 200 people, so it was very small. So it's really grown.
Yeah, we have it out at Chopping Town now. We rent
Oh,
space there for the
okay.
tax season.
Yeah.
And, recruiting volunteers is always a challenge.
Yeah,
but-
right.
And a lot of it's word of mouth.
Yeah, that was my problem. We didn't have enough volunteers, so.
How was the senior nutrition program during your tenure?
Yeah, that was big. I was trying to remember how many sites we had. We had maybe 10, something like that. It was
Yeah.
a lot. It was a lot.
You know what happened? Catholic Charities was doing senior nutrition, and
Right.
we were doing senior
Right.
nutrition. We were losing money, and Catholic Charities was losing money because we weren't getting enough reimbursement from the
Yeah.
county.
Right.
So Catholic Charities said, you guys at Peace run Head Start, early Head Start, you're making meals every day.
Right.
So you've got the kitchen equipment, you've got the drivers and the workers. Why don't you take over all the senior
Oh,
nutrition?
good.
So we inherited Catholic Charities senior nutrition program.
Right.
And last year we served 85,000 meals
Wow.
at 36 different sites.
Oh, wow.
And we're not losing money at it.
That's important.
Yeah. But that was a nice, you were always known for collaborating and
Right.
developing partnerships. And
Right.
that was that's a nice partnership with
Yeah,
Catholic
it is.
Charities.
It is.
And one time, we got a call from Albany, and they said, you should start a refugee resettlement program.
Oh.
They didn't call it that, they called it the New Americans.
Right.
And I said to him, gee, I think that's a signature program of Catholic
Charities,
Charities,
yeah.
refugee resettlement.
Sure.
Why would we encroach? And I think they respected us for that.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
that was something you always were good at. You
Yeah.
made sure you
Yeah.
respected what other not-for-profits were
Yeah.
doing. And I
Yeah.
think I tried to emulate that, and but you were very good at that, Lou.
One of the things actually I'm very proud of is I did a lot of collaboration with other community action agencies all over the state.
Yeah.
In fact,
Were you an officer too?
I was first president.
Yeah.
I was the first president. Actually, we started out as an executive directors program, and some of my senior staff said, "Why can't we get into it?" And so then it became a community action agency program. So in fact, I hired the first staff. In fact, after I retired, I went down there. You were on the board when I went
Yeah.
down there. And,
I remember that.
yeah, and tried to get another executive director for that.
Yeah.
So
So was NISCA, the New York State Community Action Association, was that in play when you were the director, or did you help form it?
I
Yeah.
formed it, I helped form it.
That's a great asset. It's
Yeah,
a real
yeah.
resource for us.
Yeah, we, at that time, there wasn't hardly any training for staff except big agencies like ours and some of the other big agencies. The small agencies didn't have
Yeah.
any training of staff. So when we put that together, we were able to have training for the smaller agencies too. So that worked out good. So I'm so glad it's still around.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of my old staff are involved in it. In fact, I got two staffers who are executive directors, with Amy Turner and
Oh, yeah.
Lindy
Lindy
Glenn.
Glenn, yeah.
Lindy did. Both of them were.
Lindy's in Cortland and Amy's in Utica,
Right.
Mohawk Valley.
Yeah. Right.
So that's part of your coaching tree.
Yeah. Yes. I see them every once in a while. I have lunch every once in a while with them. And I'm writing my memoirs.
Oh, great.
And Lindy did a piece for a reflection. Amy said she was, but she hadn't got around to it.
Oh.
The other thing I'm very proud of is the first person I ever hired when I was at Peace was Sharon Owens.
Oh, now she's the first deputy
That's right.
mayor.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, and she.
And she worked in Head Start, or?
Well, she started out running a teenage program, and then she went to Head Start. She had about 3 jobs when she was here.
Yeah.
She was a very bright lady
Yeah.
and very ambitious, and she went on to bigger and better things and did very well. So I haven't got a chance to talk to her since she's got a new job.
Well, when you do talk to her, tell her not to forget Peace Incorporated.
She won't. She won't. She talks about that
Yeah.
every now and then. So.
We've got, we're doing some business with Eric Mower
Oh yeah,
for the 50th anniversary.
Okay,
And
my friend.
you're going to be seeing some. We're going to have some billboards. And
Oh, great.
We're going to be doing some Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're excited about the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
We think it's a chance for Peace
Yeah.
to take a bow,
Oh yeah.
and
Great.
also to just acknowledge the support we've received over the years from the community.
That's great.
We're very
That's
grateful,
great.
obviously. You set us on a good path.
Well, it's a lot done before I was there. McGovern and Brown. I forgot Brown's first name.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah, Glenn Brown.
Glenn. Yeah. It's kind of interesting that all 4 last directors stayed at least 10 years or
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
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 Because a lot of those nonprofits, they circulate executive directors quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
But Peace, I think that's the stabilization of Peace, because they always had an executive director for at least a decade or more.
Yeah.
So-
I'm in my 17th year now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone fast.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. I tell people, I tell my mother I'm lucky. I say, Mom, my last job is my best job. And she says, Joe, you're not lucky, you're blessed.
That's right. You are. Yeah. That is great. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's. I tell people I've been retired 17 years. I enjoy every minute of it.
well, we're going to be inviting you to our events this year.
Okay, sure. I'd be glad to come.
We'll let you know when the dinner is. That's going to be in September.
Okay.
And we're going to have some other activities that I think you'll enjoy
Okay.
participating
Yeah,
in.
always enjoy it. Yes.
So, what do you think? We should just say Peace has been fortunate to have solid leadership, none better than Lou Clark.
Well, that's kind
I
of
mean
say,
that.
right?
I mean
That's kind of say. I paid him to say that, But he took it to the next level, and that's what we like to do. Is see everybody take it to the next
Everybody
level.
just
take it another level.
Grows it.
Yeah.